Good morning, world. Today I am present before you with the topic observation. The science of spirituality is very much based on observation. I'll be talking about Swami Vivekananda's explanation of the scientific basis of Raj Yoga and the importance of observation in this process. It is advisable that you use earplugs while listening to this particular audio cum video. All our knowledge is based upon experience, what we call inferential knowledge, in which we go from the less to the more general or from the general to the particular, has experience as its basis. In what are called the exact sciences, people easily find the truth because it appeals to the particular experiences of every human being. The scientist does not tell you to believe in anything, but he has certain results which come from his own experiences and reasoning on them when he asks us to believe in his conclusions. He appeals to some universal experience of humanity. In every exact science, there is a basis which is common to all humanity, so that we can at once see the truth or the fallacy of the conclusions drawn therefrom. Now, the question is, has religion any such basis or not? I shall have to answer the question both in the affirmative and in the negative. Religion, as it is generally taught all over the world, is said to be based upon faith and belief, and in most cases consists only of different sets of theories, and that is the reason why we find all religions quarreling with one another. These theories again are based upon belief. One man says there is a great being sitting above the clouds and governing the whole universe, and he asks me to believe that solely on the authority of his assertion. In the same way, I may have my own ideas which I am asking others to believe, and if they ask a reason, I cannot give them any. This is why religion and metaphysical philosophy have a bad name nowadays. Every educated man seems to say, "Oh, these religions are only bundles of theories without any standard to judge them by, each man preaching his own pet ideas." Nevertheless, there is a basis of universal belief in religion governing all the different theories and all the varying ideas of different sects in different countries. Going to their basis, we find that they also are based upon universal experiences. In the first place, if you analyze all the various religions of the world, you will find that these are divided into two classes: those with a book and those without a book. Those with a book are the strongest and have the largest number of followers. Those without books have mostly died out, and the few new ones have very small followings. Yet, in all of them we find one consensus of opinion, that the truths they teach are the results of the experiences of particular persons. If you go to the fountainhead of Christianity, you will find that it is based upon experience. Christ said he saw God. The disciples said they felt God, and so forth. Similarly, in Buddhism, it is Buddha's experience. He experienced certain truths, saw them, came in contact with them, and preached them to the world. So, with the Hindus, in their books, the writers who are called rishis or sages declare they experience certain truths, and these they preach. Thus, it is clear that all the religions of the world have been built upon that one universal and adamantine foundation of all our knowledge, that is direct experience. The teachers all saw God. They all saw their own souls. They saw their future. They saw their eternity. And what they saw, they preached. Only there is this difference that by most of these religions, especially in modern times, a peculiar claim is made, namely that these experiences are impossible at the present day. They were only possible with a few men who were the first founders of the religions that subsequently bore their names. This I entirely deny is what Vivekananda says. If there has been one experience in this world, in any particular branch of knowledge, it absolutely follows that experience has been possible millions of times before and will be repeated eternally. Uniformity is the rigorous law of nature. I repeat, uniformity is the rigorous law of nature. What once happened can happen always. The teachers of the science of yoga therefore declare that religion is not only based upon the experience of ancient times, but that no man can be religious until he has the same perceptions himself. Yoga is the science which teaches us how to get these perceptions. It is not much use to talk about religion until one has felt it. Why is there so much disturbance, so much fighting and quarreling in the name of God? Man wants truth, wants to experience truth for himself. When he has grasped it, realized it, felt it within his heart of hearts, then alone declare the Vedas. Would all doubts vanish, all darkness be scattered, and all crookedness be made straight. Ye children of immortality, even those who live in the highest sphere, the way is found. There is a way out of all this darkness, and that is by perceiving Him who is beyond all darkness. There is no other way. In acquiring knowledge, we make use of generalizations. And generalization is based upon observation. We first observe facts, then generalize, and then draw conclusions or principles. The knowledge of the mind, of the internal nature of man, of thought, can never be had until we have first the power of observing the facts that are going on within. It is comparatively easy to observe facts in the external world, for many instruments have been invented for the purpose. But in the internal world, we have no instrument to help us. Yet we know we must observe in order to have a real science. Without a proper analysis, any science will be hopeless, mere theorizing. And that is why all the psychologists have been quarreling among themselves since the beginning of time, except those few who found out the means of observation. The science of Raj Yoga in the first place proposes to give us such a means of observing the internal states. The instrument is the mind itself. The power of attention, when properly guided and directed towards the internal world, will analyze the mind and illumine facts for us. The powers of the mind are like rays of light dissipated. When they are concentrated, they illumine. This is our only means of knowledge. Everyone is using it, both in the external and the internal world. But for the psychologist, the same minute observation has to be directed to the internal world, which the scientific man directs to the external. This requires a great deal of practice. From our childhood upwards, we have been taught only to pay attention to things external, but never to things internal. Hence, most of us have nearly lost the faculty of observing the internal mechanism to turn the mind, as it were, inside, stop it from going outside, and then to concentrate all its powers and throw them upon the mind itself in order that it may know its own nature. Analyze itself is very hard work. Yet, that is the only way to anything which will be a scientific approach to the subject. What is the use of such knowledge? In the first place, knowledge itself is the highest reward of knowledge. And secondly, there is also utility in it. It will take away all our misery when, by analyzing his own mind, man comes face to face, as it were, with something which is never destroyed, something which is by its own nature eternally pure and perfect. He will no more be miserable, no more unhappy. All misery comes from fear, from unsatisfied desire. Man will find that he never dies, and then he will have no more fear of death. When he knows that he is perfect, he will have no more vain desires, and both these causes being absent, there will be no more misery, there will be perfect bliss even while in this body. There is only one method by which to attain this knowledge, that which is called concentration. How has all the knowledge in the world been gained but by the concentration of the powers of the mind? The world is ready to give up its secrets if we only know how to knock, how to give it the necessary blow. The strength and force of the blow come through concentration. There is no limit to the power of the human mind. The more concentrated it is, the more power is brought to bear on one point, that is, the secret. It is easy to concentrate the mind on external things as the mind naturally goes outwards. But it is not so in the case of religion or psychology or metaphysics, where the subject and the object are one. The object is internal, the mind itself is the object, and it is necessary to study the mind itself, mind studying mind. We know that there is the power of the mind called reflection. The powers of the mind should be concentrated and turned back upon itself, and as the darkest places reveal their secrets before the penetrating rays of the sun, so will this concentrated mind penetrate its own innermost secrets. Thus, will we come to the basis of belief, the real, genuine religion. We will perceive for ourselves whether we have souls, whether life is of 5 minutes or of eternity, whether there is a God in the universe or none. It will all be revealed to us. This is what Raj Yoga proposes to teach. The goal of all its teaching is how to concentrate the mind, then how to discover the innermost recesses of our own mind, then how to generalize the contents and form our own conclusions from them. Every human being has the right and the power to seek for religion. Every human being has the right to ask the reason why and to have his questions answered by himself if he only takes the trouble. So far, we see that in the study of this Raj Yoga, no faith or belief is necessary. Believe nothing until you find it out for yourself. That is what it teaches us. Truth requires no prop to make it stand. The end and aim of all science is to find unity, the one out of which the manifold is being manufactured, that one existing as many. Raj Yoga proposes to start from the internal world to study internal nature. The mind is an instrument, as it were, in the hands of the soul, through which the soul catches external objects. The mind is constantly changing and vacillating and can, when perfected, either attach itself to several organs, to one or to none. The perfected mind can be attached to all the organs simultaneously. It has a reflexive power of looking back into its own depths. This reflexive power is what the yogi wants to attain. By concentrating the powers of the mind and turning them inward, he seeks to know what is happening inside. As each science requires certain preparations and has its own method, which must be followed before it can be understood, even so in Raj Yoga. This was the excerpt from the introduction to Raj Yoga. I hope it proves to be beneficial to each one of you. The moment we start looking within, our life will be more sorted out. Please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to click on the bell icon for latest updates. Ponder over the different observations shared through this audio, video, visual clip, and write down your observations on a piece of paper. Find out the questions that are keeping you busy throughout the day. And once you have started looking within yourself, you will find out that all the answers are actually lying inside of you. With this, I end this clip and wish each one of you a great day ahead. Thank you.